Well, thank you, Mayor. And really, it's not just football. I speak from experience as a junior at Dunedin High School in baseball. We met our final game of my junior year at St. Thomas Aquinas. And so we probably would have won the state championship if we would have gotten through that. So great doing. And we were just with the mayor's old quarterback, Charlie Ward, who talked about how he used to throw passes to the mayor. So it's a small world. But I want to appreciate you hosting us. As many of you know, in May, I announced the selection of Judge Renatha Francis to be a justice on the Florida Supreme Court. And she would represent the first ever Jamaican American to be selected for the highest court in the state of Florida. And I believe any state Supreme Court in the country. And yet, rather than celebrate this great achievement, we're now facing a politically motivated lawsuit attempting to prevent Judge Francis from assuming office in just the next 2 weeks. So today, we're here to stand together on behalf of Judge Francis, and we all look forward to her assuming office later this month. I think her appointment or selection, when she eventually takes office, will be very inspirational for a lot of people. I mean, she was born and raised in Jamaica. There's folks here who probably were as well. And that's not that far from the state of Florida in terms of being in the Caribbean, but it might as well have been a galaxy away from being at the Florida Supreme Court. And so as she's growing up, as she's working hard, operating businesses, being a full-time student, she's raising a younger sibling, and she's always guided by her Christian values. Few would have predicted that she would be where she is today, but I think that's part of what makes America great and unique. And so there are some candidates that I have selected for various courts, including the Supreme Court, who were kind of born to be a judge. Maybe both their parents were lawyers, or maybe they were just somebody that you knew was going to probably end up going to law school and kind of go in the traditional route. There's nothing wrong with it. There's a lot of people who have done very well doing that. But I think Judge Francis represents something a little unique. They would not have picked, no one would have said when she was 16 or 20 in Jamaica, yeah, you're probably going to be on the Supreme Court when you're in your 40s. It just wouldn't have been something people would have probably even thought possible at the time. And yet, she is here as a naturalized citizen. She came to America as an adult, took up law as a vocation a little bit later in life than many of the other folks who decide to go into law directly out of college. And from that moment on, she's excelled in the legal profession. As a staff attorney for probably our most important District Court of Appeals, the first DCA. She served as a counsel at a very prestigious Florida law firm, and of course, for many years has now been both a county and a circuit judge in Miami-Dade County. And so just doing that, I think, would be very inspirational. But then with a list of 9 very, very qualified and excellent candidates, was one of the 2 that I selected to fill the 2 vacancies that were in the Florida Supreme Court. And so what I saw in Judge Francis were qualities that I look for in any judge. I mean, obviously, fidelity to the Constitution. Somebody that understands the proper role of the judge is to apply the law without fear or favor, but not to play politics. And you want someone that has the courage of their conviction. Sometimes when you apply the law properly, it ain't always popular, but that's what judges are called upon to do. And I think because of Judge Francis's immigrant story, and I think this is true for a lot of first-generation Americans who come here to seek a better life, that she has a deep appreciation for what the Constitution and the rule of law represents. And like some people that, as families have been here for generations, she doesn't take it for granted. She knows how special it is here in the United States. And so when we looked at the selection, we had to figure out, we made the selection in May, but we knew that she would not take office until September based on the Constitution. You need to be 10 years in the bar. But I looked at that and said, that means she's not going to be serving in May, June, July, or August. But she had just had a baby the prior month. And as somebody who, we had another child at the end of March, I'm very sensitive to that. And particularly when you have working mothers with newborns, how you need be able to be on maternity leave. So that was never a question for me. I thought it was great that they were able to welcome a new healthy baby boy into this world. We wanted her to have the time to do what she needed to be prepared to take the bench. And so it was not anything that I viewed as a negative at all. And sometimes you gotta wait a little bit longer for good things to happen. And so that's what we did. So when we announced the selection, we made clear that this would happen the third week of September, and everyone was fine with that. Well, in the meantime, there's now been litigation filed by a state representative from Central Florida trying to block Judge Francis from taking office. And look, I'm somebody that believes you stand for what you believe in, you do what you're right. I'm not going to begrudge anyone for necessarily taking some of these actions. The problem I have in this case is this particular representative has been somebody that's been very vocal about wanting to have a black justice on the Florida Supreme Court. Well, guess what? The petition that she has filed right now would block a black justice, and then, if granted, potentially force me to pick from the remaining names, who are all very good, but guess what? None of them are going to be a black justice. So if that is your goal, then this lawsuit is totally undermining what you stated that you wanted to do. And so when I see a politician saying one thing and then doing another, to me, that's the hypocrisy that so many people are sick and tired of when it comes to people in office. And I think the reason why you're seeing that hypocritical stance is partisanship. And here's the thing, we have a divided country. Do we need everything to devolve into parties and partisan differences? Can't we all just step back as Floridians and say, you know what? All those other candidates would have been good as well. I think they would have applied the law well. We have a candidate here who, upon taking office, is going to serve as an inspiration to so many people. All these little girls growing up in southern Florida right now who may have come, their families may have come from the Caribbean, just like Judge Francis did. They're going to know they could be on the Supreme Court someday. And so I think this lawsuit is so misguided. Quite frankly, it's an insult to the Jamaican American community and the broader Caribbean American community here in southern Florida. So she should be able to take office in 2 weeks. I think she will serve with honor, integrity, and distinction. And when you have an opportunity to see somebody who's had such an inspirational life story be able to ascend to these positions, I think that should make us all feel good as Americans to know that these dreams are still alive in the state of Florida. So we're standing with Judge Francis today, as I know many of her other friends and family, and also colleagues. And as the mayor said, we have different parties up here, but I think we all recognize that this is a historic achievement, and it's something that we should all be very proud of. And with that, I want to bring up a friend of mine, the mayor of Broward County. I've worked with him more than we probably would have wanted to work because of Corona, but we really enjoyed the relationship, and I really appreciate all the progress that Broward's made. So